Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Tiberius Dawnbringer, and I'm going to do a video that talks about doing a full moon release ceremony. It's one of the many things that I do for myself as well as other clients that I work with when I feel the need arises for them to do such a thing, and which is quite frequent all the time, because every human being has a ton of stuff that we need to release. Just stuff we've accumulated our entire lifetimes to, excuse me. Felt a sneeze coming. I don't want to sneeze right into the microphone. Okay, but yeah, we've accumulated all this energetic gunk and emotional blockages and such stuff like that. And there's many ways of, releasing that type of energy, but one way I enjoy doing, and I know many others already incorporate this into their lives, is doing a full moon release. So actually, last night was when the full moon was at its apex, but generally 2 days prior to the full moon reaching that point and 2 days after. Some people might say 3, but I like to go with 2 as a safe, comfortable frame. Yeah, so 2 days before and 2 days after, the full moon energy is still there. So if you want or need to do it earlier, or you're like me and you got busy last night and weren't able to do it the night of, you can always do it a night or two afterwards and it'll still work, it'll still be there. And so yeah, there you go. So it's a real simple and easy ceremony. Most of the time I just do it by myself. I don't really need to have anyone there. I have facilitated at least 1 or 2 release ceremonies for clients of mine, but it's not that hard. This is probably going to be a really short video because there's really very few instructions. But anyways, so what you generally do, some people might, I would suggest the day of you planning on doing this ceremony that you would meditate on what it is that you want to release. If you don't know anything in particular, that's also part of the meditation. While you're meditating, sitting there, however you meditate, you speak to self, or you can speak to source or your higher self, or whatever you trust in that will speak to you, speak to your heart and let you know. You could just simply ask. It's like, what do I need to release at this time? Or anything of that nature. And for me, what happens usually is I'll just sit there and kind of waiting for a response, and then my mind will just start thinking about stuff, and I'll think about any number of things. I'll think about, my recent breakup, or stuff at work, or how the job I'm working at is kind of changing me, energetically, attitude wise, that kind of thing, and I don't like it, and I don't want that to be a part of me. So that's something I would release. But it can be stuff from like when you were like 5 years old and there was like some embarrassing moment that happened in your life, or middle school, or any time. You just let it go and trust that whatever surfaces, that's what you can work on releasing. Even if it's not what you thought you might intended on releasing. It's anything you can release energetically is beneficial to you. Every bit of gunk, or whatever you want to call it, every bit of dense energy that's in your body and your soul, whatever, that you can release is healing. And well, that's pretty much what my channel is about right now, and what I'm about in the work that I do is healing. So yeah, it doesn't matter what comes up. Take it, own it, and use it to release. So what you do is, whenever you come across what it is that you want to release during the full moon energies, because the full moon is all about release, just like the new moon is all about things you want to manifest. So that's another video I'll do at a later time, probably when the next new moon comes about. It makes the most sense. But I'll talk about that a little bit more at the end. So anyways, so what I do is simple. I just get like a notepad, and you don't have to do this, but this is just how I do it. I'll write at the top like full moon release for April 26 or 27 or whatever the particular date is for that full moon, and then I'll take whatever it is I want to release, and I'll write out something along those lines. Like, I actually have two here that I'm doing tonight, which is another reason I thought to do the video. So I have it written down like this. So my intention is to release any and all fears of judgment and being judged or ridiculed for speaking my truth, whether here on YouTube or in everyday life. Alright, that's one. And it makes sense, because I don't know how far you people are into this channel or the videos I've posted, but right now this is a brand new thing for me, and it's something that's been suggested to me the past year and a half on multiple occasions, and the reason why I've held off from doing it is simply because of fear. I had this fear of not being good enough. I had this fear of not having the knowledge to make videos properly and all this stuff, and the fear of not having enough people paying attention to my subject matters and so forth. You know, just pretty much anything any newcomer to this kind of work would think of, you know. And it actually wasn't until maybe a couple months ago, a huge transition in my life. I won't talk about it now, but maybe in another video I will talk about it. It brought about a lot of changes, and I just decided that I want to start doing something that I enjoy doing, that I'm passionate about with my life, rather than staying in survival mode and getting a job somewhere. Whether I like it or I hate it, it's still all about the money. It's still all about trying to make the paycheck in order to survive. And I'm just tired of doing that. I've been alive for almost 4 decades. I know I don't look it, thanks, but it's true. I am almost 40 years old, and I cannot stand that kind of living. It's not really living at all. Every single day there's some level, whether it's minuscule or bigger, of that, like, am I gonna make enough today? Am I gonna have that? Is there gonna be some kind of BS that comes up later? Is my car gonna randomly break down and cost like $1,000, which it has happened to me, and it's annoying, and it's not fun feeling that way. So yeah. Anyways, I tend to do this in my videos where I just get off on something else and just start talking. Then the videos become 10 or 20 minutes longer than I intended. So I'm going to stop that right now, and I'll move on to my next example. So the next one that I wrote down was, I set the intention to release all fears and anxieties related to taking risks and exploring outside of our comfort zones into the unknown, which is associated with the story I just gave you as well. This is something outside of my comfort zone. This is not something that a year ago I thought about actually doing. It never occurred to me. I looked at YouTube and I was like, it's either for like something informative or valuable or entertaining, or it's full of people that are just full of themselves and are coming from a place of ego. Something like that. To me, YouTube was like a step above things like TikTok or whatever. So, you write it down, something along those lines, and then you just, some people recommend, I'm going to adjust for a second here. Okay. So some people recommend, like, once you're done with that, just sitting it down and like going and doing something, like go have a meal, do an errand or a chore, just get away from it for like at least 30 minutes to an hour and not think about it. Okay? Because I guess, I don't know why they do that. But me personally, it depends on just how I do it. Sometimes if I think about it during the daytime, I'll write it down and then put it down, and I'll come back to it at night when the moon is out and then do the ceremony. Or nights like tonight where I just felt like doing it the hour before, I write it down and then I'm gonna go out and do my thing, But either way, some people do recommend taking time away from it so you don't think about it, so you're not dwelling on that energy, I guess. But what you do is, when you wait for the moon to come out, it doesn't matter what point that the moon is at, just it's out and it's full and the energy is there, it's obvious. Then what I do is I have a burn bucket, which I got it from like I won't name any names, but I got it from like a typical store that most people might be familiar with. And it's just like this metal trash container. You want it to be metal, you don't want it to be plastic because that's silly. You don't know why, I'll explain in a minute. But yeah, let's just say you want it to be like metal or something that can handle fire, because that's going to be involved in this. So what you do is you go outside, preferably, and what I do is, I'll set the burn bucket on the ground, and I will have the paper with all my things written on it, and I'll take a moment to get centered and get into myself, and then I'll call out to, I pretty much invite in, I'll invite in my higher self, I'll invite in the universe, angelic beings, and of ascended masters, just spirit guides, whatever you work with. If I have a particular release item that pertains to another individual, like if I want to emotionally release myself and energetically release myself of a particular person, like an ex or something of that nature, or someone who's just negative in your life and they don't really help you or contribute in any way, but they're just not leaving. That's another example of another person. But every person, no matter how great, wonderful, or annoying, obnoxious they are, they all have higher selves. They all have purposes here that they're serving, whether you realize it or not. Even in being that particular way, they are serving you in some way. So I would call in that person's energetic or higher self so that they can hear what I have to say. They can hear my declaration. And, but whoever or whatever you feel you need to invite in, you just take that moment to invite them in. And just be like, I invite you all in to observe and hear what I have to declare during this full moon release ceremony. And then I'll take my notepad and I will, with all the sincerity that I can muster, and I will read off the items one at a time. And then once I get done, I'll say something along the lines of, these are the things I wish to release, and through the use of fire, I will release these into the universe. And pretty much that's what I do. And then I'll take a lighter or something. I have one of those, grill starter ones. They're really long. Yeah, that's nice. That's easier to use. And then I'll just burn it, and then when it's going good, I'll put it into the burn bucket and let it burn out and do its thing. Because as it's burning the paper into ash and nothingness, it symbolizes that you're energetically releasing those things into the universe. And you're pretty much just going with the intention that you have released those things. Alright? And have something like with water in it, like a pitcher or cup or something with water to, not that, you expect the fire to get out of control or anything, but it's just, once it's done, just, you want to put the embers out. Because the container will be hot. At least mine is. It's burned me a couple of times because I'm like, well, we're done, So, yeah, just for safety reasons, have some container with water to pour in there to, cool it down and extinguish the flames. Okay? So, that's pretty much it for a full moon release ceremony. Other things that I've heard about, is I've heard that there are people that will take like a glass of water, just plain water, and they'll put it out in the moonlight overnight and let the energy of the moon's energies energize into the water. And then the day of or the night of that they go to do the ceremony, they'll drink that water and take in the full moon's energy into themselves. And it helps to work with and facilitate the full moon release ceremony. And that's fine. I've never done it because I never really think about it until after the fact. But, hey, if it works for you, then do it. Just who cares? Do what feels right for you. Do what resonates with you, always. And trying to think of anything else. Oh, sometimes people will use candles as well. I did that a couple of times, but I really use candles more for the new moon manifestation ceremony, which I will talk about, like I said before, in another video. So, but yeah, people do decide to use candles. It's pretty much like you still have your things written down, and you'll hold the candle and you'll speak out loud what it is you want to release, and then you'll blow into the wick or into the candle. You're pretty much filling your lungs up and blowing that intention into the candle. And then what you'll do is you would light it and let it just burn out, and that would be another way of burning and releasing that energy out into the universe. But you're already going to be burning it using a fire bin, or whatever I called it before. But yeah, a fire bucket. Yeah. So there's really no need for you to use the candles unless you really want to. Again, if it resonates with you, then do it. You know, you do you. Alright, so that's it for this video. It's 20 minutes, so I actually thought it'd be shorter than this, but I'm still pleased. And if you're still here with me watching this video, then as always, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you taking the time to exchange energies with me by paying attention to this video and listening to me speak my truths. And I express my gratitude to all of you for taking your time to do this, and I thank you. And I'm gonna go do my full moon release ceremony right now, so you all have a great night, and I hope you're more prepared for the next full moon in case you decide to do your own release ceremonies. Good luck and good night.